Good morning, children. We are back with another video on your chapter number 8, a treat for mosquitoes. First, today we'll be going through a survey report. So, as it seems given in your book, some children did this survey. Here are some of their reports. Let us have a look into the reports made by the two groups of children. Group 1, we found something green around the taps. So that's something interesting in our school, and which is called algae. Due to algae, a kind of plant, algae is a kind of plant, it had also become slippery there. The algae spreads a lot during the rainy season. So when does the algae get abundant or spread? That is during the rainy season. We think that they are some kind of small plants that grow in water. So in a way we can say that some of the algae are mostly aquatic, means they grow in water. Let us take a peek into what group 2 found. There is a pond near the school. At first, we can't see the water in the pond as it is completely covered with plants. One auntie told us that the plants have grown themselves in water around the pond, and there are pits full of water. We also saw some larvae in the water. As we moved around, lots of mosquitoes flew from the plants growing around. Jaskirat feels that there are so many mosquitoes in her house because of the dirty pond nearby. So that's something one should be taking care of. So, as we have observed in this portion, in two different circumstances, we can see the algae which is present in the pond and how the aquatic plants aided the growth for mosquitoes. So now let us learn about the life cycle of mosquitoes. Life cycle of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have their 4 distinctive life stages, with the first 3 stages being spent in water. So there are 4 different stages in a mosquito's life. Out of them, 3 stages are actually spent in water. Let us learn about the first stage, that's the egg stage. An adult female lays about 100 to 400 eggs in cluster called rafts, which float on the surface of water, or eggs may be laid singly on the surface of water or the water's edge, depending on the species of mosquitoes. Within 2 to 3 days, the eggs hatch into larvae. So that's all for our first stage, or the egg stage. Now we will move to the next stage, and that's the larvae or the maggot stage. So let us take a look into it. Let us start with the second stage, or the larval stage. The larvae come to the surface to breathe through a tube called a siphon. and feed on small organic particles. So the larvae actually has to come to the surface to breathe and to feed itself with organic particles and microorganisms in water. So the larvae also eats the microorganisms in the water for its food requirement. Larvae are found in a wide variety of standing water sources, including neglected swimming pools, ditches, storm drains, rice fields, irrigated pastures, tree holes, log ponds, snow pools, ponds, artificial containers, and even discarded car tires. So there are a variety of places where larvae can grow easily. So we have to be very careful about that. Larvae and their skin are molt 4 times during the next several days or weeks. On the 4th molt, it changes into a pupa. Some may call it pupa or a pupa. So, after the 4th molt taking place properly, the larvae moves to its next stage, and the name of the next stage is pupa or pupa. Let us take a look into the next stage. So now let us take a look at the next stage, that's the pupal stage or the pupa. The pupa cannot eat. It breathes through 2 tubes on its back. So how does a pupa breathe? It breathes through 2 tubes on its back and it cannot eat. The adult mosquito grows inside the pupa, just like the butterfly inside its cocoon. And in several days, when it is fully developed, so it takes several days for the pupa to get fully developed, it splits the pupal skin and emerges to complete the life cycle of a mosquito. The newly emerged adult mosquito rests on the surface of water until it is strong enough to fly away and feed. After being hungry for the whole stage of development of the pupa, the fully developed mosquito gets ready to feed. It stays on the surface of water till it feels a bit strong enough to fly and find out its food. As soon as it regains the confidence and strength, it starts flying in search of food. Let's move to the next stage, and that's the adult stage. The newly emerged adult mosquito rests on the surface until it is strong enough to fly. Female mosquitoes require a blood meal to lay eggs. Male mosquitoes do not feed on blood. Diseases are transmitted with female mosquitoes feeding on an infected host and then feeding on an uninfected host. When the female mosquito first feeds on an infected host, followed by feeding on an uninfected host, the disease and bacteria are carried with them to the next person to whom they are reaching in search of blood. Let's learn some fun facts about mosquitoes. All mosquitoes must have water to complete their life cycle. That's something interesting. Mosquitoes do not develop in grass or shrubbery, although adults frequently rest in these areas during daylight hours. So what we can recognize is the adult mosquitoes stay in grass or shrubbery and bushes in the daytime for getting the rest that they need. Only the female mosquito bites to obtain a blood meal. The male mosquito feeds only on plant juices. Female mosquitoes are attracted by heat and carbon dioxide to hosts such as humans, mammals, and birds. Hope all of you can resemble this portion from the chapter Super Senses, where we had learnt about how mosquitoes can find you by recognizing your body heat and your body temperature. So, these are some interesting facts about mosquitoes. That's a lot of mosquitoes we have learned. Let's make some queries about algae that we have just learned in the beginning of the video. First one, can you see algae in or around the water? Where else have you seen algae? Are there plants growing on the side or in water? Find out their names. Draw some of these in your notebook. Do you think these were planted by someone, or did they grow on their own? What else can you see in water? Make a list. So make the following observations and note it down for further references. You can do the activities in groups as well if you have a friend or so living nearby you. As we all know, in this situation we can't gather mass, and we should only take the help of those in our family or living close by. It's time for the activity of the day. So today's activity is mosquitoes life cycle. You have to label the different stages of life cycle of a mosquito You can do so by making this diagram or your copy or in other ways possible.